Okay, excellent. So I believe I am live right now, and I have to double check in. Let's see if we got this here. I don't know if I am live with the camera right now. I believe I am. Flip camera. Let's see here. I wonder. Rosemary, if you can see this feed here, can you shoot me a quick text? Okay, so it's just Rosemary watching. Okay. How does things look on your end? Excellent. Okay, so this is the My Blind Spot Facebook Live feed here, and today we'll be talking about a number of issues, and not necessarily issues. I'm getting coaching advice at the same time because we have the lovely little iPhone text messaging going at the same time. So this is my first feed on the Facebook Live portion. And what we're going to be working with here is just a number of technology pieces here. Let me go ahead and just let you know that if you are interested in any types of accessibility, and this is not just to do with blind accessibility, this is to do with accessibility in general. And as of course this is my blind spot, but there's also a connotation that we just deal with blind related things, hence the word blind in my blind spot. But we're actually looking more at a context of the situation where it's something that you didn't see, like as in a driving my blind spot. People tend to miss that sometimes. And I think it's good to say that in visual impairment, it also has to do with print disabilities, cognitive disabilities. It has to do with a number of inabilities to be able to use a computer effectively, or have usability concerns with, say, websites or programs. Accessibility is different from usability. And with accessibility, there's a difference. Just because something's accessible doesn't mean it's usable. If you have to tab 500 times to get to what you want, I wouldn't really consider that usable. So in essence, what my blind spot does is we find a way to make this technology work better for you, to understand how somebody with limited capabilities and using assistive technology is able to actually engage with the world. It's always a hard dialogue to work with, because when people are first approaching my blind spot, they're really unaware that in the first place somebody with using assistive technology, or somebody with cognitive or print disabilities or blindness or low vision, can even use a computer. And so it's a very long dialogue that starts out this very long process of helping them understand that somebody with these, what is considered a disability on some aspects, not really in essence, in my blindness portion do I consider myself disabled, but I am lumped into a category automatically. And this is what we're trying to do, is eliminate stereotypes, stereotypical behavior, of just approaching the scene of accessibility, because it's very hard to understand why somebody would have to explain blindness and low vision and an array of disabilities. With accessibility and concerns, you always have to look at, you have to kind of know what you don't know to start off with here, because accessibility is a big world, and accessibility just doesn't mean somebody that is physically disabled. It could be, it just could be a differentiating limitation. It could be cognitive as well. And what we do is we find ways to be able to describe just how a person with limited capability can become unlimited in their ability to interact with the world. The feelings herein expressed are one that a lot of people with these common descriptors have and experience when facing the world. So the one thing that I'd like to really stress is that whenever somebody is looking for accessibility concerns and trying to being able to engage with a clientele or customer base in any level, they first have to really seek out what is accessibility, what is usability, how do you go about testing, how do you go about the developmental phases, how do you properly plan out and strategize how to approach a problem, because sometimes the problem is not the problem, it's a symptom of the problem. And case in point, a symptom of the problem is not necessarily that you just have to make a page blind accessible, because that just works with screeners. What about low vision? What about people with cognitive disabilities? What about the way information is presented on a web page that could even affect the client base of sighted users as well, if information is just presented in a haphazard, confusing fashion, and you would like to further organize a website according to things. Now, a lot of things that we go after are, in fact, government websites, state and local websites. When it comes to that information, it's very useful for a person to be able to do that. But not just that, commercial as well. And we're working on state and federal levels to be able to expand the horizons of somebody that has limited capability. They are not limited. The technology is not allowing them to do some things, because these people are not limited by any means whatsoever. And the customer base that we're actually looking at here, this is not a situation where we are a limited population either. This is a huge population, and the families therein concerned behind the people with said categories of disabilities and whatnot is numerous. This is a huge client base. It's a huge customer base. It generates trillions of